Hello, and welcome to another Level Design Hall of Fame. This is a episode that I am redoing. So there is a previous one of these about Katamari Damacy. Don't watch that. Watch this one. This one is a redo of sorts, with better looking footage from A Game's Done Quick. Please go watch those. Those are great. But I feel like in the time that I did the first one to now, I feel like I've been able to articulate my points better. I've been able to put together better videos. So there is no particular level in the first Katamari Damacy that I really love more than any others. Maybe the music is the only thing that really, like, you know, pushes me in that direction. And there really isn't even, like, a Katamari Damacy game that I could even point out. I mean, the first two are the best, but, like, you know, just play any of them. For me, like, it is like a perfect mixture of substance and style. Like, it's very hard to remove any of the art direction or the sound effects or the music or just like the setting and the gameplay and the level. Like, it is so hard to separate all of those things with this game because it's all so intertwined in such a beautiful way. And for me, like, the sense of scale, like just the size of everything and the objects you're picking up and how they're laid out and where they're placed and how that sort of leads you in a direction and how that escalates and how you navigate through each sort of world in a particular order to get through certain barriers once you're at a certain size, and then you start doubling back and collecting bigger objects that were once barriers to you, like houses and people and cars were sort of like you would have to navigate around that, and that was like a sort of sub-level, and then once you get big enough you start collecting those things, and then, you know, like the actual island that city was on becomes the sort of barrier. But then when you get up to a certain size again, those islands become the things you're picking up on the globe, which is now like the boundaries, and then eventually you're in space and you're collecting planets, and the boundaries are space. So for me, Katamari Damacy is like one of those games where, like, the level design, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it doesn't balloon, it doesn't, I mean, it changes, but, like, it's sort of just, like, it keeps adding on itself. Like, it's like this weird onion where you're, like, you start in the middle, and then you sort of have to go back out. It is just fascinating how, like, subtle all of that is, because, like, you don't really sit and think about it. You're like, oh, it's so fun and cheesy and ridiculous, and I'm having a blast. But, you know, I mean, they had to lay out a house and a city, and they had to, like, place all those objects and make all the models, and they had to put them in places, and you know, they had to know, like, where you were able to go and where you were supposed to be heading, and how many objects and how big they are, and how that adds to the size to complete the level. And then, like, there even stuff where, like, you're just, like, on the floor of a room, and you're very, very tiny, and you're just picking up all these, like, weird pieces of detritus that we all take for granted in life. And you just think about, like, who made these things? Like, why are they, you know, like, you just start thinking about, like, the world and objects and how we interact with, you know, in our daily lives, and you're just, like, picking up all these things, and it gives you this weird sense of perspective. And it is just this weird miracle of game design where, like, it's almost like a Hitchcock film. This is a weird jump in logic, but, like, anyone, no matter how dumb you are and no matter how familiar you are with the language of film, you can watch a Hitchcock movie and think it's amazing because it is very engaging and it has a great plot and it's funny and it's suspenseful. But then, like, on a deeper level, you look at Hitchcock movies and you're like, fucking hell, this son of a bitch, like, he's a genius, and everything he does is a masterpiece because he just knows how to make a movie, how to structure a movie, where to put the camera, how to block, how to edit, how to shoot, the colors, the lighting, you know, the sound, like, all of those parts are so integral, and for me, like, Katamari Damacy does that better than most people give it credit for. And I really, really, really respect the hell out of everything it does. Like, there are levels in the first and second games where, like, some of the missions are, like, just different than just, oh, collect stuff and become big, like, you know, picking up the largest bear to make Ursula major. So, like, you have to go around and pick up objects that aren't bears, and be careful of picking up things that are, like, teddy bears or whatever, because you want to pick up the largest bear, and that's the goal. And that's interesting to me, because, you know, at its core, Katamari Damacy is about collecting things, and it does it in a way that has never been seen before. Like, normally when you collect things, you're playing Mario for coins, or you're playing Banjo for, you know, feathers and Jinjos and all that other, and honeycombs or whatever, and puzzle pieces. And Donkey Kong 64, like, you're collecting everything. And collecting, for most games, is just collecting items and for your inventory, or you're collecting secrets or whatever, or souls. You know, keys for Resident Evil. But in this game, like, you're, like, the collecting is the thing you're doing, but you're not doing it in a way that is sort of, like, secondary or tertiary to the main mechanic. Your collecting is the mechanic, and this game isn't a murder simulator. You know, like it is its own weird genre of puzzle platforming that is so unique to itself. And then you get to levels, and like, we love Katamari, we heart Katamari, the second game for PS2. God, they need to remake these games or sell them elsewhere. I don't want to have to bust out my PS2 again. Although I'm happy to, because that controller is way better than the PS3 or PS4 controller of the DualShock. But there's a level in that game where, like, it's like winter, and you have to, like, you have like a bundle of, like, logs, and they're on fire, and you have to collect hot things to keep the fire going, and if you collect cold things, the fire goes out. So it's all about, like, momentum and, like, being smart about, like, what you're picking up and stuff, and, like, I mean, the missions themselves and the levels and, like, where you are in Japan, but then eventually the world, and like, these levels are fun, they are well designed, they're well spaced out, they're thought out, and they're just fun, and they're really interesting. You know, just, like, running through a zoo and picking up animals and hearing the noises, or, like, you know, picking up, like, just, like, people and families and, like, schools, and it's just, like, you know, on a certain level, it's, like, really ridiculous and dopey, but, like, on this, you know, on the surface, you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? But, like, you think about it, and, like, gameplay-wise, it's really ingenious, and even just, like, thematically, it's just, like, resonant. This game is so fucking good, and it's such a shame that, like, most people haven't played it. And when they watch it, watching it is just different than playing it. It really is. When you're playing and you're seeing the stuff you're picking up, and you're trying to piece together, like, where you are and where you're going and what you can collect, and you have that weird sense of exploration and, you know, experimentation of, like, what can I pick up? And it turns out everything at a certain point. You know, it's just wonderful. I really, really, really love this game. It's one of my favorite games ever. And I know that most of the things that I do videos on are games that I love because I'm very familiar with them. And it's very hard for me to pick out games that I have not played it to death or don't particularly love. I'm hoping to do more of those. But for now, especially when I'm remaking videos that you can find on other channels elsewhere in the past where I maybe didn't do a great job of explaining things correctly, I wanted to try to do a better job. And I feel like I have succinctly done that. So yeah, Katamari Damacy. I picked the final level out because it was the longest, and really went from 0 to 100 real quick, as some would say. And I feel like that's, like, a good primer. That's, like, a good introductory sort of thing if you've never heard of this game or seen. Just going from, like, centimeters to, like, you know, the size of the Earth. That's a lot of fun. That's really something. And, like, even while you're doing it, it's like you're picking up crap on Earth that's garbage because you need to make stars and moons and constellations and planets. Like, there's something just, like, so cool about that. I don't know. It's just like the King of all Cosmos, like, made a mistake and, like, fucked up, and he's just like, you know what, like, fuck Earthlings, and just pick up their garbage and just put it back. Because, like, space needs to be intact. We don't, you know, I don't care about anything that humans are doing because they're dumb, and everything that they made is dumb. And there's something so, like, I don't know, it's charming, but it's, like, nihilistic and, like, misanthropic about all of it. I don't know. But you know what? whatever. I don't care. This game's amazing, and obviously the music is all-time best, all-time greatest soundtrack. To really power you through these levels, and I wish these levels were longer just so I could listen to the music for. Oh man, so good. So there you go. You can follow me on Twitter at @JaredRusso for more. Been a little slow putting up these videos, but hopefully I'll start speeding that up. But I wanted to make them good, you know? I wanted to give each one time in the limelight. So, thank you for watching. Go watch AGDQ. And adios.